Okay, example 5 is going to be an example of an extraneous solution. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to still isolate the square root and solve it out. But what ends up happening is we get a quadratic, which means we have to test both the answers we get into the original equation. All right, so my radical is on the right side, which means it's just on the right side, but there's nothing around it, so it's already isolated. So what I'm going to do is get rid of the radicals. Since this is square root, I'm going to square both sides. Okay, and when I do that, the radical and the 2 cancel. All right, so essentially what I have is x squared plus 1 squared, and those go together. So when I break it apart, that's x plus 1 squared. It breaks up into x plus 1 times x plus 1. Multiply that base by itself twice. Okay, then we get the 7x plus 15 out of the radical. Okay, I'll then need to FOIL this part here. Times 1 is 1. Okay, combine like terms, x squared plus 2x plus 1. All right, so now that I have a quadratic, I need to have it equal 0. And since my x squared is positive on the left side, I'm going to move this entire equation to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 7x both sides, put them under the x's. I'm also going to subtract 15 to both sides. All right, so this whole right side will cancel, which is what I want, will leave me to our quadratic equaling 0. We'll get a negative 14 minus 5x, and then x squared. All right, so there's our quadratic. We can go ahead and x method that quadratic. So negative 5 on top, negative 14 on bottom, and those two factors will be negative 7 and 2. All right, so we have x minus 7 times x plus 2 equals 0. All right, to solve this, we're going to take x minus 7 equal to 0, and the x plus 2 equal to 0. Solve for each one, which they just end up flipping signs. All right, so we got 7 and negative 2 for possible answers. So what we need to do is check for extraneous. So I'm going to do my check. All right, so let's do the negative 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm plugging the negative 2 into the original formula where x is. So essentially I get this, negative 2 x plus 1 equals the square root, sorry, not negative 2x, negative 2 goes in for x, so just negative 2 plus 1. All right, so we get 7 times negative 2 plus 15. Okay, and let's just kind of work it out. So we know this side is going to be a negative 1. And if you just kind of work this inside out, we get negative 14 plus 15. So negative 1 equals the square root of negative 14 plus 15 is just 1, so square root of 1. And we know the square root of 1 is 1. So negative 1 does not equal 1. This is false. Okay, which means that this answer is extraneous. Okay, I tested 7 earlier, and 7 works out. We'll get a true result, and therefore that's why that works.